Dan?
Thank you. I'm Dan Gookin, Coeur d'Alene City Council candidate, and you can read my bio at dangookin.com. I thought I'd review some of the things that I've done for you while serving on the Coeur d'Alene City Council. People call me the voice of reason, the one who asks the right questions. I have the ability to see both sides. I've never voted for a property tax increase, and I always look for ways to save the taxpayer money. I support our police and our fire who provide outstanding services to our community, and I ensure that they're properly equipped. Crime is down in Coeur d'Alene 60% in the last 10 years, 14% in this year alone. I've opposed high-density development. I oppose the ARPA funding. I oppose the lockdowns and the mask mandates. I support the people's right to speak at public meetings. People deserve to be heard, and I always stand with the people. In my next term, I will continue to fight for your rights. I will ask the tough questions. I will fight to preserve the historical character and charm of Coeur d'Alene, and I will always answer my emails and phone calls. Vote for me, Dan Gookin, Seat 3, Coeur d'Alene City Council.
Some have said recently that the city's budget is unsustainable. What will you do if elected to help change that?
So I voted against the property tax increase. I can always find something to cut in the budget, and this year was no exception. We had $1 million in cash that came in through our annexation. And I did make a motion to use that money to offset the property tax increase. Thank you for the second, Christy. But the rest of council did not agree to that, which was silly. They would rather see $1 million or $700,000 sit in the bank at 4% interest than give it back to the taxpayer. There's also lots of other nickels and dimes throughout that budget. And if you attended the budget hearing, and I thank those few candidates who actually did show up, that you would know what I offered for cuts. You know, I've been looking at the city budget since 2005 when I first started showing up. I know where the money is. It's in there. I really regretted that the mayor said that it was unsustainable. We can work it out. The problem is sometimes you just have people who aren't willing to work on the city council, and I'm willing to work for the taxpayer. I sat out here as a private citizen for years and watched him frustrated because I read the budget and I knew where the money was to cut. There's always money to cut. There's always money in the budget. There were some things, if you watch the budget hearing, I said, well, why haven't we raised this fee? I've been pushing them to raise impact fees for 10 years now. There's other fees that we can raise. There's a lot of things that we can do from the state. And I got to tell you, the state is going to provide property tax relief this year. We don't know what it is yet. And you get your property tax bill after the election. But that's not an excuse for council people to be lazy and not look for cuts in the budget. And I will continue to do that for the next 4 years after you elect me, Dan Gookin, Seat 3. Thank you.
Coeur d'Alene's rapid population growth has significantly impacted traffic and is testing the limits of our current transportation infrastructure. How will you address issues like traffic congestion and adequate infrastructure improvements resulting from our city's unprecedented growth?
So, impact fees. I've been pushing for updates to impact fees for 10 years, and I could have really used some help with some public comments from some of you during that time if you really wanted to see impact fees increased so that we can pay for all this stuff. I actually learned today that we tried an impact fee study the city did way back in like 2016, 2017, but it was withheld from council. And I'm very disappointed about that. And this is the kind of thing I do for you, is when this kind of stuff is kept from the public that pays for it, I throw a fit, and we all should. KMPO offered about 2 years ago, unfortunately it was right in the middle of COVID, a plan that would have brought $800 million of traffic improvement to Kootenai County, and the voters rejected it soundly because they didn't want to pay an extra $50 per car for registration. And that was sad. So we have density, and that's what we're talking about really with the traffic. And I ensure that every time there is an upzone in the city of Coeur d'Alene, I ask questions about traffic. Now, they're always going to say that the street can handle the traffic, but that's not the issue, is it? The issue is, how long are the lines going to get at the grocery store or the bank? How long is it going to take you to see a doctor? How long are you going to have to spend waiting at the DMV? These are quality of life issues that I bring up every time we do an increase in density, and it's just ignored by the rest of council. It's sad. Not all the time. I mean, I know I've gotten some supportive votes on a few things where density was increased with no parking. And that's a problem we have downtown right now. We need to fix that. I would like support to fix that. Show up to the meetings. Tell us what you think. This is how we're going to have to deal with it. It's going to take some pain because these people want to build more houses, but we got to do it in a sane way. This is why I voted against the comp plan, because the comp plan doesn't really handle density the way you should. We need to put it where there's infrastructure, where the roads can handle it, and we also need to worry about commercial development because we need access to those facilities. Thanks.
Sheriff Norris went to the public library with a camera today and exposed what's in children's books that are okay. And our local, mayor, city council, I mean, that stuff can't be okay. I'm the one that's going to say it's not okay.
Thank you, Hilo. And Clark, anytime you want to go to the library with me and find those books, you got my number. I'd be happy to see if they're there, and then we'll deal with them. You know, I've always been available to anyone who has concerns. And I don't like people making stuff up. So let's see if they're really there, Clark. My goal for the next 4 years is to represent you and defend your rights. That's my track record on council, and I'm proud of it. I want to preserve the historical character of Coeur d'Alene. I support the formation of our Historical Preservation Commission. We must defend our neighborhoods and our quality of life. This is why I question and often oppose that high-density development. I fight for the common citizen. I visit the community before the meetings. I respect it when people attend council meetings and express their concerns. I answer my email and I return my phone calls. And I shall continue to be a budget hawk. I look to cut the budget. Thanks or no thanks to the changes in our legislature, it's getting more and more difficult. Hopefully that does change in the future. But know that I hear your pain. I don't like paying taxes either. And I will fight for you and your rights when you vote to re-elect me, Dan Gookin, Seat 3, Coeur d'Alene City Council. Thank you.